What's going on, Panthers Nation? It's Aaron Duncan here, back again with another video brought to you by Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. And in today's video, we're talking about Panthers news and updates after the game, after Week 1 victory versus the New York Jets. We got a lot of things to cover, talking about just all the things that might have happened yesterday and the updates that came from the coaching staff and the press conferences the day after they got to digest the film. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. Like I said, I'm Aaron Duncan here, and I do recap and analysis of the NFL, in particular. Show a little extra love to the Carolina Panthers. So if you want to see more videos about the Panthers and the league and get live streams, updates, podcasts, all kind of announcements and giveaways, make sure you guys are subscribed down below and give the video a thumbs up also, because if you hit a thumbs up, it's going to help me out in the algorithm. If you hit the bell icon when you subscribe, you're going to get notification every time I go live or doing those announcements that I'm talking about. So make sure you guys are in the loop and stay on top of things, because, why would you want to miss it? You know what I'm saying? I'm not hating to brag and toot my own horn, but toot, beat. This is some good content. You're going to get that stuff if you subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into it. But the first thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is the New York Jets losing to the Carolina Panthers, and Sam Darnold, being our starting quarterback for Carolina, was able to get his revenge game against his former team. Obviously, the Jets, they got a new coaching staff, and they decided to move on for Sam Darnold. They traded him to us, and they drafted Zach Wilson. This was a chance to get back, I guess, at your old squad for getting rid of you, showing you that you're not better off without me, whatever you want to call it. Also, Robbie Anderson was a former Jet. Him and Sam Darnold played together, and they both hooked up for a touchdown, which is pretty funny, as Robbie Anderson did the little airplane jet touchdown celebration in the end zone. I thought it was a good joke. Nevertheless, and if you just look at Sam Darnold's numbers, they look pretty respectable. 24 of 35, 279 yards, one touchdown passing, one touchdown on the ground, obviously on that scramble called in the red zone. Pretty respectable for a first start. A lot of people online and in Panthers fan base were being extra dramatic, saying, oh, he's way better than Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater could never throw deep as many times as Sam Darnold. Look what Sam did to Robbie. Look what he did to DJ on the sideline throwing deep. He just looks a lot more comfortable, looks better. The ball moves a lot more than Teddy. I'm here to tell you that's BS. This was Sam Darnold's first start against a pretty bad team, a young coaching staff, a young quarterback on the opposite side that didn't put up a ton of points because, one, our great defense, but two, it was his first start also. So the opposing quarterback wasn't putting much pressure on you to score points. So it'll be a whole different ballgame against many opponents. But to really put things into perspective about Sam Darnold's debut performance, I went and looked back at Teddy Bridgewater's debut performance with the Carolina Panthers last year against the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's really, really crazy how similar these things are. Look at these numbers. Teddy Bridgewater went 22 of 34 for 269 yards and one touchdown. What's crazy is that's only 2 fewer completions than Sam Darnold, 1 fewer attempt, and only 10 fewer yards. Obviously, the rushing touchdown separates those things, but for those numbers to be that close in their debut, it is a scary coincidence. Scary. Like, cue the X-Files theme. And what's even weirder is they both threw deep ball bombs for their only touchdown to Robbie Anderson. Sam Darnold's touchdown was 57 yards to Robbie. Teddy Bridgewater was 75. 75, 57. You flip them, they're interchangeable. Kind of weird. If you're a gematria junkie, your spider senses are tingling right now. If you believe in these patterns and numbers and coincidences and stuff being rigged, your spider senses are tingling right now. 75-57 to Robbie Anderson, only touchdown pass of the game. That's crazy. What gets even weirder is the numbers when it comes to Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey yesterday in the game rushed for 98 yards on the ground. Christian McCaffrey in Teddy Bridgewater's debut in that first game last year rushed for 97 yards. 97. That's crazy. That you can't make this up. You can't make this up. This is like, cue the X-Files theme song. Cue whatever you want to do. This is crazy. If you are a conspiracy theorist, you cooking right now. You writing a book. But the main point I'm trying to make is, even though these numbers are scary identical, the common denominator is coaching. You know, the weapons, we still have respectable weapons, even though we changed a few pieces around. Offensive line is still suspect. We changed the quarterback, but the results still seem to be the same. That tells me that it's the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, and that's Matt Rule coaching overall. It's a system. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It's the system. It's going to be short passes. A lot of passes to Christian McCaffrey, who had 9 receptions yesterday. You're going to take some shots every so often, but in the red zone, you're going to struggle. So it's the system, guys. This is what I've been preaching for the past few weeks. So pay attention as the season proceeds and see how Sam Darnold's numbers could possibly parallel to Teddy Bridgewater's going forward. We already seen how close they are in the first game. Let's see what happens going forward. Of course, it's a 17-game season. Teddy only played 15, even though on a 16-game slate. So they're going to be a little skewed, but pay attention to a per-game basis how everything looks. The biggest difference, too, is the defense. Teddy didn't have this defense. If Teddy might have had this defense, maybe circumstances are different. Maybe you don't get rid of Teddy. Because in me, I always thought Sam Darnold from Teddy Bridgewater was a lateral move. It didn't move the needle. And so are these numbers going to continue to be the same and you're going to start seeing that the issue wasn't quarterback after all? Something to pay attention to, guys. The next thing on the list is the injuries that came out of this game. So we came out fairly clean. Dante Jackson did cramp up. You guys are cracking your jokes online about Dante, but he played a pretty great game. But the one downfall that I did see, Myles Hartsfield, our starting nickel, went down. And it looks like there was some type of wrist injury. And according to the injury reports that's come out, he's going to be out 8 to 12 weeks and is likely going to be an injured reserve candidate. Now, we know that we signed A.J. Bouye during the offseason, and he was looked at to be our nickel, but we knew he was going to be suspended for the first 2 games of the season because of a suspension that he had to complete from the prior season. So we thought, okay, Myles Hartsfield can hold it down in the meantime, between time, and we should be good. 1 week later, boom, he's gone. So what do we do going forward? The Panthers have, according to reports, signed Corn Elder, the former draft pick of the previous regime, back to this team. You know, he has familiarity with Phil Snow's system and this coaching staff and the players. So hopefully he can fill in as a Band-Aid or a stopgap for depth just to get us through this next week until Bouye returns. We've also signed Rashawn Melvin, who was a 53-man cut casualty, back to the team. I think he was on practice squad at some point too, but now he has been promoted back up. In the corresponding move, we let Omar Bayless go off the practice squad, so he is a free agent now. But the concerns about the depth are issues. Like, what do we do? Do we go to Sean Chandler? Do we put more of Jeremy Chin at the nickel? Do we try to go big nickel and use some extra linebackers? Like, what do you do? There's different combinations that you can do, and we have some guys in the wings. But how quickly do we try to put a guy like Corn Elder in there or Rashawn Melvin? Especially going up against a guy like Sean Payton this week against the Saints, who is known to take advantage of mismatches and will draw up all kind of strategic moves and plays to exploit our weakness. And a pretty cool piece of news, which you probably, if you've been on the internet, you've probably seen, is the Carolina Panthers are getting a lot of love for, they call it authentic reality, not augmented reality or virtual reality. But they took the Carolina Panthers statue from outside the stadium and pretty much digitized it, had them prancing around the stadium. It was pretty crazy. The Panther had green eyes. He was growling like crazy. It was pretty authentic. I was scared. Had I been there and saw that on my phone, on the virtual reality, I probably would have been scared. That thing was huge. It was huge. But you know this Panthers media team, social media team, they're always coming up with new creative ways to do these type of things. Now, they're not the OGs of it. If you remember, the Baltimore Ravens did something like this a couple years ago against the New York Jets. They had a giant raven flying around the stadium. The irony is the Panthers did the same thing against the Jets also. Both teams won those games, so it is a very effective technique when playing the New York Jets. Bring your virtual reality mascot, and it could result in a win. And real quick, I got to give a shout out to this defense. They were as advertised this week. 6 total sacks by 6 different guys. We went for Zach Wilson making miracles happen and chicken salad out of chicken crap. It probably could have been more. We know Brian Burns missed a clean one, and a couple other guys missed another clean one. So it really could have been more. They pressured this guy on 44% of the snaps. You can't make a living as a quarterback getting pressured on almost half the snaps that you drop back. So this was beautiful to see. Granted, this is feasting on an inferior opponent, obviously, but we expect this defense to do more things like this. Maybe not to this extent, but we expect more explosive performances from this front four and everybody in general, including Shaq Thompson, who was player of the game. Player of the game, 10 tackles, a quarterback hit, a sack, an interception. He dropped another interception. Played some good defense and coverage one-on-one on some deep routes. Shaq Thompson really balled out. People have been really talking smack about Shaq Thompson this offseason, but I think he really heard the disrespect and he took it personally to be out there. The two number changes that were today were of note, obviously, from Jermaine Carter going to number 4 and Shaq Thompson going to number 7, who were vacated by Joey Sly and Will Greer. God rest their soul. They're not dead, obviously, but they moved on to different things. However, everybody's saying you can attribute it to Shaq Thompson playing like this because he finally got back into his college number 7, because number 54 would never play like this. Whatever. Whatever. It's a cool joke, but whatever you want to say about Shaq, just the apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect. Okay? The apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect. Salute to my guy Shaq. Salute to the whole defense, everybody that got involved in the sack party. It's a beautiful thing. Got to keep it up against the Saints coming this week. You know what time it is. It's a division game. And my last point of the game is talking about the snap counts and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey registered in his first game back after missing multiple games last season. He registered 89% of the snaps. Now, this seems like a lot because he got 30 total touches this game, which will put him on pace over a 17-game season for 510 total touches, which will smash the single-season record by 18 touches, which is entirely too much, in my opinion. A lot of people are saying, you paid him all this money he missed last year, run him into the dirt. One, you don't have to encourage the coaching staff to do that because they're going to do that. But at the same time, we need this man he's going to be such a key to our offense, clearly, from what you see yesterday. We do not need to run this man into the ground early on in the season. I'd rather have 85% Christian McCaffrey for 17 games than 100% Christian McCaffrey for 6 games, and then he's sitting down on the sideline because of injuries. Let's be smart with this guy. You invested a lot of money. It's not just about this year. It's about the following year and the year after. And when we finally think we turn this program around, we want Christian McCaffrey to be a part of that. You brought in Chuba Hubbard for a reason. You said that Chuba missed a block on some things, and you really upset with about that, according to Matt Rule in his press conference. Chuba did get some snaps. He caught a couple checkdowns. Still not enough. 89% snaps by Christian McCaffrey is lower compared to the 93 that he's averaged throughout his career. But if he's still getting touches, it doesn't really matter. Now, Coach Rule said they're monitoring it, but they don't feel as bad when a lot of those touches come from catches. But contact is contact when it comes to a running back, in my opinion. I want to put Christian McCaffrey on ice all week and only bring him out for game days. Clearly, he doesn't need to practice. He didn't do anything in the preseason. So just bring him out on Sundays. That's my opinion on that, but I'm not a coach. Obviously, Joe Brady is going to continue to feed him. Obviously, Sam Darnold is going to continue to use him because he's a high percentage throw. He can get 80, 90-something yards receiving in the game. It makes your numbers look good, and he can do a lot of work. And he's almost always open because he's a check down, especially when you have all the weapons that we have running downfield and taking all defenders with them. It's a recipe for success, but how sustainable is it? That will tell us going forward, something to monitor. The snap count or pitch count, touch count, whatever you want to call it for Christian McCaffrey. Be aware, and our $15 million man, we want him for the long haul and the future. Keep it in mind. Future. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, most likely. We want him for the years when we finally get ready to make that run. I do, at least. If you agree with me, let me know down below in the comments because I'm pretty much wrapping this up. That's all I got. Let me know how you feel about the new augmented reality they did. Let me know how you feel about Sam Darnold's performance. And do you think he'll do better, worse than Teddy, or about the same? Like I think. Let me know down below in the comments. But without further ado, I'm signing off with Unnecessary Blunt Sports Talk. I'll see you next time. Peace.